Hey, what's going on, Beyond the Vision podcast listeners? Listen, I got my sister. I brought my sister. I know y'all probably, if you're in the Connected with Purpose group, you've seen me go live with her. But I bought the founder, the CEO of Digital Glow, my sister that I've met in Japan. She's doing great things, just as a survivor, as a mentor, as a leader, as a business consultant, like just all hands down. I don't want to give all her sauce, but she's going to be able to share with you her journey, her story, who she is, and what she does for the community, what she does in her business, and what she like what her stamp is and her legacy is in this life. But my sister Allyn, she's on the scene, y'all. If you're watching this live, you see my beautiful sister over there, this beautiful queen. And if you're listening in, go to YouTube, y'all, and go to Beyond the Vision podcast, episode 9. This is episode 9, y'all. I'm so excited for the journey. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you go listen on all platforms. Share it. Let somebody know that we are out here and we're sharing resources and great information. It really just bringing people beyond the vision. Understand that no matter where you are in life, there's something beyond this point. And to be honest, it's something beyond the next point. And you continue to realize that it's something beyond your current circumstance. So you don't get stuck in what you can see in the moment, what you can see right now. There's always a plan. There's always something beyond the vision. So we're going to get into this episode, y'all. Go ahead, Allyn. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell them about you. Tell them your story to who you are today. Let them know, girl.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Allyn, and I am, as Shakitra mentioned, I'm the CEO of Digital Glow Consulting. But first and foremost, I'm gonna try to do this without being emotional, but I am a child of the Most High.
Come on now.
I am a mother of 2 sons, and I'm also a 2-time cancer survivor, as well as a sexual abuse survivor. And all of that is important. And I know y'all probably thinking, okay, that's a lot of information. However, my take on things is that I'm a person first, all of those things first before I'm a CEO. And all of that is important because people need to see you before they can see what you can do for them.
Come on. Yeah.
And so how do we know, and the vantage point that I'm coming from is, how do we know when to share our stories? Because we often come to a place with our business and our clients, and we present ourselves in a certain way.
Yeah.
Now, there are multiple digital marketing companies out there, but when do we know when to present ourselves as human to our clients? Because our clients do business with us because they like us.
Yeah. That's fact.
You know.
And like, before you keep going, I want y'all to put a plug in right there. A lot of people spend so much money and so much time building the brand, which is important. But if you don't build that credibility and realize that people want to see you first, people want to understand. I don't care how many times I've done workshops, speaking, coaching. People want to know that you're like me in some form of fashion, or you can relate to me, or you've been where I've been, or you have the same faith as me. People want to align with you. You see what I'm saying? People want to, come on. Come on. You talking to a preacher now. People want to align with you in a sense of they want to make sure that you and them are on the same page. So for those listening out there that's building and creating, no matter what that is, understand that people want you first. The branding, the marketing, it's going to come. Don't put more time into trying to dress yourself up versus just telling people who you are and who they're working with. So I think that is so key that you said that, because people don't realize how the relationship is what builds the connection, which should get people to share. I think most of my clients have been referrals based on a relationship. And that's so key and important that you show yourself, not just as an entrepreneur in a business and a CEO and founder first, but as human. So I think that's super dope.
Yeah. And, it's a learning process because, oftentimes we don't like to share our stories. We don't want to talk about ourselves, but we also have to remember our stories are a testimony, and we don't know that the person or the client that we reach out to, we don't know what their situation or their circumstances are. And our business is an opportunity to get in touch with people.
Yeah.
And we may not know that person, your next client, they may be on their last day on earth in their minds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And something you say to them may impact not only their business, but it'll impact them. It'll keep them here. They'll say, dang, I needed to hear that today. I don't know how many times I've met people and I've shared a little bit about myself, whatever bit and piece that God has laid on my heart to share. I've shared it with them and they said, oh my gosh, you don't know how that blessed me. So now the question or the context in which I'm coming to you today is, when do we know when to share with our clients? How do we know when to share our stories? And I think, Shakidra, you're an amazing example of that.
Thank you.
Because you are transparent. You are who you are, and you just show yourself to the world. And that's what's interesting and what's impactful in everybody's lives, because I never knew your story. I met you many, many, many years ago, but never knew your story. And connecting with your story about, sexual abuse, that resonated with me because that's something that I experienced.
Yeah.
So how do you, at which point, and I'm going to ask you because then I can answer. How did you know when to share your story in terms of, with the business and the brand, connecting those two? How did you know?
I realized that when I first went live, that people, I'm promoting I Am Me, and people was like, kept saying, what made you start it? What made you start it? How did you get here? What made you start it? How did you get here? And I realized that every time somebody do something, it comes from a place. And I instantly realized that people don't really know me because I silenced myself for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know what I Am Me meant to me. They didn't know what Me Too, hashtag Me Too advocate, what that meant to me. I'm saying I'm a life transformational coach, but they didn't know what I was transforming from. I was saying that I'm a motivational speaker, but they didn't know what I need to be motivated from. So I saw myself trying to promote I Am Me, and more people were interested in how I built and what made me start I Am Me than I Am Me itself. And I realized that I was trying to promote I Am Me when really most of the people that are my coaching clients and that book me for speaking, no, they booked me based on my story, based on the relationship, based on Shakidra. They just know that Shakidra is the owner and founder of I Am Me, and they support it. But that's what I mean when I say, when you do something the wrong way or what you think is right, your transparency and authenticity will cause you to shift sometimes, because people want to know, who is it behind the scene? Who is it behind this podcast? Who is it behind, the book? Who is it behind, like, who's speaking? Who is that person? And I want to get close to that person, because how do I expect people to get their buy-in, especially with the quality and the value? And people are just not going to put their money anywhere. They need relationship. They need understanding. So I saw myself getting asked more like, what made you start? Like, what got you into advocacy? What got you into like motivational speaking? You just coming out here saying this what you are, but what happened?
Yeah.
And I realized that more people, because of social media, sometimes quote unquote the reality, they're like, I only know this side of you. I don't know the dark places because I didn't share.
Right. Right. Exactly. And that's the same thing, and I just thought about my the name of my company, Digital Glow. It now has a new meaning for me. It started as a company, and Glow is my mother's nickname. When her first name was Gloria, and Glow is what they used to call her. What's up, Glow? And so Digital Glow was founded with her in mind, paying homage to her. But now it means that I'm a light. You know, I'm my goal is to bring businesses to light, digitally, you know, online. And so, but not only that, I'm just, you know, shining a light on who I am and who I am behind the brand. So it's more than a notion. But yeah,
And I,
so I've
and I
been
and I
through.
want to ping on that. You saying that that glow being your mother because it's a legacy for you. Like no matter what happens, no matter what, whether it's successful because you make it successful, not based on the income, not based on how much money you get or raise or whatever the case may be, or how many clients you help. The fact that you walk in obedience makes you successful. But I was talking to my sister the other day, and I was like, "Who was our great grandparents?" And we both looked and was like, we don't even know their name. I was like, we don't know. I was like, you know
Mm,
why? I was like, because they didn't leave us nothing to remember them by.
mm,
And I was like, and I'm saying when I say great grands, I'm like my mother's parents. I don't know their names. And I told my sister, I was like, as we have kids, I want people to always remember our names because we left them something to
ooh,
remember us by.
mm.
And speaking and having a voice and understanding the power in speaking and not silencing themselves, they won't fear their pain, and they will understand, like what we just talked about, that they don't always go through because of something they've done. Sometimes you go through for what it is that you have to get through in the future, and we
Mm-hmm.
are equipped. And sometimes getting equipped puts us through a stage and an experience that is very painful, that is traumatic, that is very dark, it brings anxiety and PTSD. But God already knows that we're going to break through those things. So He's not worried about that. His big
Right.
thing is to make sure that we're equipped. So I was telling her that I don't want people, our kids, to be like, who were our grandparents?
Mm.
Because they didn't leave us anything to remember them by.
Oh
So
my.
when I hear you say glow, people are gonna forever remember your mother because the legacy, the
Mm-hmm.
impact,
Mm-hmm.
digital glow, they're gonna forever remember who you are because you leaving them something to remember you by. To me, that's so
Wow.
important when it comes to people say, why should I write a book? Why should I start a business? Why should I? For your legacy, for your
Mm.
lineage, for your next generation, to show that we don't just learn about our culture and Black history and in the history books and the slave trade. Like that shouldn't be the only time that we talk about us.
We are history.
We are
We're history in
history.
the making.
Come on,
Yeah.
baby. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's when you mentioned that, I was talking to my sister and was like, that is such an important factor because we do not know them because they left us nothing to know them by.
And you
Mm.
know what? That is so true because I know my great grandmother on my mom's side, but I don't know who my great excuse me, I don't know my great grandfathers that way. I don't know either of my great grandparents on my dad's side at all. I don't even know their names. And
Wow.
but I know my grandmother and my grandfather. But yeah, you're right about that. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yep.
And my kids, they know about my great grandmother on my mother's side because she's the one who, the story keeps going on. She was the first entrepreneur that I know of in our family with a third grade education.
Wow. That's it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
third
powerful.
grade education.
Mm.
And she moved our family from Mississippi to Chicago. And she and her now hopefully I'm getting the story right. So if my family's out there listening, they're gonna be like, "Nah, line, you got that's not accurate,"
So,
because
but
there's several.
that's not right.
Right. What is she talking about? But no, the part of the story that I know is that she moved us to Chicago, moved the family to Chicago, and this is when families lived together in the same residence. And so they had a building. They bought a building later on. She bought a building later on and lived in it with her daughters, two of her daughters, and I want to say this one of her sons, and all of us lived in that building. That we all came through that building, that apartment
Wow.
building. It was a six flat, and I'm like, how does she? I don't ever remember her working, but they say that she did work at the stockyard But she was, honey, she was something else. She was something else. And
And
then
you don't
all of
remember.
everybody in the family passed on this business.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but what we were talking about earlier about voice. And so, your listeners weren't on. We had this deep discussion about the type of cancer that that's been afflicting or invading my body, I should say, because I don't own it, so I don't say
Come
I
on.
have it.
Yeah, come on.
But it's thyroid was the first one, excuse me, and now it's parotid, which is which is a major salivary gland, right? And so, what I was sharing with Shakitra earlier is that I had to stop and think, and I asked God. I said, "Well, God, I know that God doesn't afflict us with things because that's not Him, but He allows things to occur for whatever reason, and so we have to listen in order to understand why we're going through certain things." So my thing was, I said, okay, so I have, my thyroid cancer and then the other cancer, parotid. This is all from the neck up.
Mm-hmm.
So my question was, and it's affecting what would be considered my speech area. So I said, well, why is my speech being focused on? Am I not talking enough? Am I talking too much? Am I not telling my story? Am I telling too much? And so Shakitra, you go ahead and tell everybody what you told me.
Because I have to stop you because so many times, and I put this out there for those of faith out there listening. So many times we think that we humanize God and we think that He's like our parents. Because you do something bad, my mom gonna pop me in the mouth, or she gonna put me in the corner, or she gonna reach back when she told me, not to do. She gonna reach back in that back seat. Mothers are something else. You know what I'm saying? But there's a consequence for my actions. And yes, even though we have consequences for our actions in the spirit, He's not that God to be like, well, you did this, so I'm gonna do this. Well, you didn't do that, so I'm gonna do this. Well, He's not that. But God is an equipping God. And what I said is that you don't realize that He's not saying what you're not doing. What you're going through is probably about what you're about to do. And I say that when you did the signal that said this is from the neck up, but the thing that you preach the most is about telling your truth. So if I was the enemy and I want you to not do that, I'm going to snatch the thing that you need in order to do it. So when I say He has to equip you, He has to put you through something that will attempt to take something away that you're going to use. And He needs you to be able to use it through adversity. So sometimes that battle goes with the calling, because He's saying the enemy thinks that if he deters this, that you won't do it. I'm going to allow something to happen where you can do it, but it's going to cause some hurt. It's going to cause some pain. It's going to cause some affliction. And so I think it's understanding that sometimes it's not about what you've done, but it's mostly about what you're going through, because you got to think about most of our traumatic experiences. And I put this on the word sometimes because He says that you have to have the mind of a child to enter heaven. So sometimes I feel when we are attacked, it's usually in our childhood. It's usually through our teenhood, because we're like a sponge then. He's like, if I can get to you while you are a child, I can get to your mind, because you soak up everything that happens to you. You take in everything. You don't know no better. You don't know scripture yet. You don't have weapons of warfare yet. You do not have logic yet. You don't have so much. So that's why the enemy comes while we're young, because it's a little bit harder when you're an adult. It's easy when you are in an adult body but have a childlike mentality. But we don't realize that so many things happen as a child because your mind is a sponge. Your body is a sponge. You start building whoever you want to be, whatever goes into your head, words stick, actions stick, everything sticks because it's like a sponge. That's why I believe that He says that you have to have a mind of a child in order to enter the kingdom of God, because the word comes with not fully understanding, but I need you to soak it up. You don't fully get what you're going through, but soak it up. No matter what happens, soak it up. And so I truly believe that when we are children, the enemy comes to attack us in one type of way. And when we're an adult, he's going to come and attack us in a different type of way. But either way, the calling and the gift has to happen, because we didn't do anything to go through the trauma as a child. So why do we refer to us doing something when we experience the trauma or the challenges as an adult? It's based on that child mentality of, when I did something, something happened to me. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, I love it.
When you start getting mind and logic and psychology, you start getting these things. And that's why I understand when he says, don't be ignorant of the enemy's tactics. So many people study Jesus, but a lot of people study the enemy's territory. We study Jesus a lot. We study God a lot. But when we talk about weapons in spiritual warfare, we also, I remember when coach tell us to come into the locker room and we not having practice, and you sit and watch the team you're about to play. You watch their defense, you watch their plays, you watch their go-getter, you're preparing for what's about to happen. You don't watch last week's game until after you watch next week's game to see what you didn't do.
Oh, you know what? That's rich right there.
That's how he's going to preach right now. We see who's going to preach.
Right. No.
But I think that it is totally, when you said that, it was just like God Joseph and said, look at what the attack is. So you realize that it's not for what you're not doing. It's probably for what you're about to do. And you need your voice to do what you have to do, because your calling is about teaching people to tell their truth. And when you start talking the truth, that's when God snatch it up. The enemy tries to let me attack what you need. And if I can't do that, then I just find something else. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And you know what? That's a segue into what I was just getting ready to say. You said study the enemy, right? Well, let's take it a step further and talk about business. So when I talk, well, we're gonna mesh the two.
Yeah.
So when I talk to my clients, oh my bad.
No, you're fine.
So when I talk to my clients, I tell them that I am going to study their counterparts. I'm going to. Can I just?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Go ahead. You're fine.
Okay, hold on. Okay, sorry about that.
No,
so what I do is what I do with my clients is I talk to my clients and I say, you know what? I said, how are we going to make you and your business more visible than your competition? And they're like, well, I don't know. Well, how do you know you have competition?
Yeah.
Well, you know you have competition because when we do a Google search for the industry that you're in, somebody else shows up other than you. And so going back to what you said about studying the enemy, right? We have to study our competition. So what I do is I go peek behind the curtain of the competition and I see what they're doing to get to be number one. And I push and I do the same thing for your business to make you number one and exceed them. But we can't do it without studying. Everything in life we have to do, we study. I'm in the digital marketing space. Well, how do I know how to do better than my competition and do better for my clients? Well, I need to see what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
I can't do it. So we're not here alone. We're not here alone. And I share my story with my clients, and I go back to when are those opportunities presenting themselves. You're in the space that you're in because God has called you to that space, and you're thriving because God has called you to that space. You didn't know when you were a child that this was what you were going to do. You had no idea. You thought you were going to be in the military. You killing the game in the military, but that's not what that's a part of your journey. But where you're making impact is sharing your story. So I can kill the game when it comes to, I'm a technical wizard when it comes to looking at people's websites and checking out their social media content, and figuring out where they need to tweak this, that, and the third. But so what? Everybody learns that. You can learn that, but you can't learn about me. You don't know me until I tell you about me. And when I reveal that part of myself to my clients based on what their information is, that's when it becomes, oh, this is Allyn. This is not just a digital marketing company. She's looking out for me.
Yeah.
She wants to see me succeed, not just tweaking my website. And I think that's where a lot of businesses miss it, because like you said, they don't present themselves. They don't come to you as a true person and recognize that behind this business, people are trying to feed their families.
There you go.
People are trying to get, for some people, this is their safe space. Their business is their safe space. So a cleaning company is not just a cleaning company. That cleaning company CEO goes to work for her clients because that's her safe space.
Yeah.
But you don't know that until you start talking to people. So I think it's very valuable, to share your story. Don't be afraid to share a piece of yourself with your clients, to let them know that, yes, I'm a person and I do care.
Yep.
I had a client to tell me she had been through several digital marketing companies who said that they were going to do something for her. And she spent tons and tons of money and ended up with nothing. And so I told her, I said, you know what? I said, I can relate to that, and I just started sharing some of my experiences with her. And she was like, wow. She said, okay. She said, well, I really appreciate you sharing that with me, because I went from, how people are up here
Yeah.
to down here.
Yeah, humbleness and humility. And I think it's important on that, and for the audience out there, understanding that when you give a piece of you, that's a piece of the business. Like, people don't realize that that's part of it. And I think I have given so much that it's being reciprocated. People ask me more so like, what's your price and what's your service? Because I'm already giving it to you, because it's like, I know it'll come later. I'm just gonna get, like, what do you need? Feel the need and fill the gap. But it comes from, I know, as a Me Too survivor, as a victor, what it's like to need something you don't have, what it's like to be silenced, what it's like to fear the anxiety, the fear of going home. I know what it's like to not sleep for years through the night. I know what it's like to need someone that you do not know who that someone is, when really you find out that it's God, but you're looking for that place of peace. You know what it's like to be in a position of need and you want it so bad. And that's why for most of my clients, depending on what state they're in, I always ask them, before we start this business, before you start this book, what is it going to cost you if you don't do it? What does it mean to you? Because you know what it costs. You know what you're going to get if you do it and you're successful. But what does it cost you if you don't do it? Because if you don't know that, it's going to be very hard for you to press past adversity, press past the doors being closed, press past somebody messing you over. The business world, if you don't know, it's a dog-eat-dog world sometime out here. Everybody wants the dollar sign. When you get into that business where faith is not the foundation, and even when faith is, you still go through trying times. And some people are more impressed with the build-up, with the makeup, with the websites, that they don't know who it is behind the scene. And so I think you have to give them a piece of you, because trust matters. Trust builds. Trust lasts. Trust is consistent. And when you don't have that client to sit on the phone with you and listen to you, be on a video with you, do a whole consulting call, all this stuff, and never to call you again.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that follow-up, I learned that even in the military, is the follow-up. When I've done a video consulting, even when somebody's packages through. I'm like, hey, how you doing? How did it turn out? Where you at? You good? You straight? What's going on? It's that follow up because they go beyond feeling like a number, feeling like
Mm.
a client. You know, you're not just a client, you're human too.
Yes, yes. Wow. Ooh, this is rich. This is rich. I love it. I
But
love it.
I know, like, you know, and I'm glad that you came on here and was transparent with the audience. But what is it, you know, who is your ideal client and what type of services, what do people expect when they book with digital consulting outside of getting the authenticity, getting the relationship, building their business? Like, what is it like working with Digital Glow and how do they get in contact with you and what is that experience like for them?
Okay, so the ideal client for me is a business owner who wants to be seen. A business that wants to be seen, wants to be in front of their ideal client. They can be a small business, it can be a large business. If you're not visible on the web, and we've seen this throughout the pandemic, if you're not out there, because people are not walking. Well, at the time, I don't know, things in the States might be a little bit different,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but right now, because people are out. But if people are not walking past your brick and mortar building, they don't know you exist.
Mm-hmm.
So businesses found out very quickly that they needed an online presence. Some business owners never even, use the internet, believe it or not. They don't even know how to start a social media account, be it Facebook. People were always talking about Facebook, and oh yeah, and you'll find out where people are. Believe it or not, this is interesting, and this is no shade, but you can tell how tech savvy someone is by their email address.
Yeah.
Because if you look at their email address and you see, no shade, AOL.com, if you see, some of the older emails,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay, so this person probably doesn't really use the internet.
Yeah.
And so those are the clients that I would like to help. I don't want people to feel ashamed that they don't know, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you learn about these different ways in which you can draw business and draw clients to you. So the ideal client is a business owner who wants a visible presence on the internet, and I tailor those services based on where that client is currently. So if they don't have a website, then that's where we need to start. If they have a website, but the website is not showing up in the Google search, then we need to look at some SEO services. If they don't have a social media presence, depending on what their ideal client is, I'll recommend a social media platform. And quite honestly, now video is very important content. Um, if you don't have a YouTube channel, that might be something you want to consider. You don't necessarily have to always be live on YouTube, but most people who are going and searching for a business or a niche, they're going to Google it and Google is now a verb. They're going to Google it on YouTube
Yeah.
to learn more about it. And you want to be there. So we do optimization for YouTube channels. We do optimization for websites. So your web presence is not just one entity, it's multiple entities connecting together to bring your business in front of your ideal customer. So it's all, tailor made for the business owner and their business.
And so if they want to contact you, and I have for those that are listening on audio platforms, her website, digitalglowconsulting.com, or on all social media, you're under Allyn Wall on all social media, or Digital Glow is on social media as well.
Yes.
But I think it's helping people. And when I'm working with clients that are publishing book, the most important thing that I've learned is you can post all day, you can share all day, but if you're not in front of your audience, it doesn't matter. If you're not being seen, it does not matter. I've worked more with how to get in front of my audience more than anything else in my business, is getting in front of the right people. And when you sent me that
The report.
the report. I was like, OMG, I gotta shift. You see, I had to shift it up. It
It's
was
beautiful.
so opening, and it was just like, oh, I gotta change some things up because these can't all be red. I'm not getting seen out here. And it's like, you know what? I need to work with you too because I'm trying to get out there. I need to be out there, be seen. So I think it's so important to connect with those that are way makers in that field. I tell people all the time, they're like, well, how do you know what to pay for and what to contract out? You do not have time to spend time on things that other people are perfect at. I'd rather pay somebody so I can perfect my craft. So when it's time to show up, I show up. Yeah. Instead of building this IME, I was spending so much time doing everything else, but perfecting my craft, perfecting my keynote, perfecting my, that elevator speech, perfecting the motivational speaker, the coaching package. I spent so much time doing everything else instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to budget this in, let these people work this and let me work on my craft. It took me a couple of years to learn that. So now I'm quick to be like, I'd rather put somebody on payroll, take care of this so I can go focus and do events.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. And you know what? So what I would like for the audience to do is to reach out to me, go to my website, GLO consulting.com, and fill out the information form, and I will send you a free report on your website. It'll be a comprehensive report, and you can take a look at that report, and then I will follow up with you and reach out to you and schedule an appointment so that we can talk about some strategies that may prove to be very, very helpful to you in terms of bringing your business to the forefront in front of your audience. Because there are some things that you may not have thought about that I can definitely provide you some direction and some guidance. And if you are showing up in the Google search, then let's put you on all platforms as number one. Yeah, because you may be showing up on number one on Google or number two in Google, but you want to find you want everybody to find you, even people who are on the social media, because people are doing things on their cell phones now.
Yep, everybody. So, you got to be on the palm. You got to be in people's hands now.
Right. And so, we want to optimize all of those platforms for you. So, so again, reach out to me at digitalglowconsulting.com, fill out that information form and provide your website's URL or domain, and I will definitely run a report for you. You can also reach me on Facebook. I have a business page on Facebook. There's a form on Digital Glow Consulting on my Facebook page, and you can fill that form out as well. So there are multiple ways to reach out to me. Hit me up on Instagram. You can actually go to Twitter, and also check out our YouTube channel as well. We're all about giving information, sharing information with you, and it's very important, Shakitra, like you said. Sometimes as business owners, we want to charge for everything.
Yeah.
We want to charge for everything. Information is free. I will give you some information.
There you go.
But then when we start talking about the services, then that's when we talk about the money.
Come on now.
The information.
How to come with a price now. Don't play us now.
Right.
Jesus, not me. Okay. Come on, bro.
Yeah, because and some
I didn't make us no doormat now.
There you go. And people need to realize that, everything that you do for people, don't be so quick to charge them for everything.
Yeah. To me, it's more valuable when you can give it. They see it work, then they like, well, if it did for this, I need you on a team for real. I book more that way of just giving them, fill them with value, because they're going to get it anyway. You know what I mean? And then the how-to, when you start getting to the step by step, that's when it's like, hey, listen, now it's time consuming. You're paying for time, you're paying for the value, you're paying for the knowledge. So I think that's super important. But
Yes,
sis,
ma'am.
thank you. Listen, y'all just got a free consultation. So y'all better get that report. Trust me, it transformed. It made me second guess my website and shift my whole website up. I put it on a whole new platform and I'm still
It's
working at it.
beautiful too.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm working on it. My platform, for those that's listening, if you go to YouTube and go to Beyond the Vision Podcast, episode 9 with the Lime Wall, you'll see the her website on the video. I have it scrolling here for those that are not watching the live experience with this young lady, with this queen, with this victor, with this survivor. Like, thank you so much for your obedience, because so many people can't maneuver in adversity. So many people shut down everything because of their mental, emotional challenges, and you're still answering the call, even with going through adversity. And that's a warrior, and that's somebody that's truly fighting in the spirit. So thank you for that obedience. Listen, Beyond the Vision Podcast, this is another episode, another place where resources is happening, and we're trying to take you beyond your vision. Stop getting stuck in your current state and understand that it's always something past the current situation, the current moment in your life. And no matter what, man, continue to visualize. And if it's not right, guess what? You can go back to the drawing board and recreate, redo, and God will repurpose what it is that you're supposed to be doing. But at no time are you supposed to stand still, be stuck, and not do. Y'all continue to execute. Thank you, Allyn, for being here with us. I'm sure the audience, y'all better be reaching out. Go on social media right now and message her. Go on digitalglowconsulting.com and get your report, y'all. Y'all, let's upgrade. Let's do something better. Thank you for helping me, helping a sister out. I'm trying to help y'all out there. Go get it done. Be blessed, y'all. And until next time, continue to go beyond your vision.
Thank you.